This is the story of how I became a content designer. Hi everyone, Yvonne here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As of right now, I've been a content designer for about 3 years, and whenever I chat with other content designers, a very common theme is a lot of us did not start off being a content designer, and everyone has that unique story of how they became a content designer. So today I'm sharing mine. So grab your popcorn, grab your drink. I have my boba here. It's gonna be an interesting one. We're gonna go back to 2010, and back then I was a high school student in China. Do not use this piece of information to calculate my age. But if you understand the Chinese education system, you would know that being good at STEM subjects is the most key component to have an academic success. And I was not a part of that. I was not good at math. I was falling behind in physics class. My chemistry was terrible. I was not thriving, okay? So I was under so much stress that it was actually impacting my health. I started to have random nosebleed. I was having fever almost every single week. And my family was concerned for good reasons. With the consideration of my stress and my family's huge value on creativity, they decided that it would be the best idea to send me to school in the United States. The moment I got accepted into a US high school, I dropped out of Chinese high school. In the fall of 2011, my parents dropped me off at a small boarding school in Rhode Island, and there it goes, my big grand journey in America. Very soon, I realized that I was pretty decent at English when I was in China, but it was nowhere near enough being in America. I could not understand the classes. I could not communicate to my roommate. I was literally struggling. I remember carrying a digital dictionary with me at all times, just so that if there's a vocab that I didn't understand during class, I could just look it up. But by the time I looked it up, like 3-4 sentences I've already passed, and I'm just completely like falling behind, not knowing what's happening in class anymore. At one point during English class, I actually got a 33 out of 100 for one of my papers because my teacher could just not understand what I'm trying to say at all. I made a lot of silly mistakes along the way. I questioned my decision of coming to the United States to study a lot. I had many nights where I would be crying and writing my assignments at the same time because of that language barrier. But I decided to lean into my fear. I would reach out to my dorm parents, my advisor, my English teacher, pretty much anyone who's willing to help. I just wanted to submit a more acceptable version of the assignment because I truly felt embarrassed. Everyone really pushed me to finally hit that breakthrough point where I just finally got it. And I became more comfortable expressing my thoughts. I became more comfortable with writing as well. Now, college time. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but my dad used to be an advertising director in China, so I thought I would want to do something media related. I went to a film school in Boston and was majoring in media studies. I thought about becoming a film critic, but at the same time, I couldn't really binge watch movies like some of my other roommates could. Now I know because I have ADHD, but back then I had no idea. I tried radio and journalism, but was eventually told that I needed accent therapy in order to thrive in the industry. I also thought about going into human resources, but my internship offer got rescinded because of my visa status. I had a very unpleasant college experience, and by the time I was becoming a senior, I knew I was gonna become a starving artist. I forgot to mention, but at that time I was on a student visa in the United States, and that means after graduating, I have about 90 days to find a job, or I lose the full year of my work authorization. And I was pretty sure that I was not gonna be able to find a job. So instead of figuring out my life, I decided to escape reality and convince my parents to send me to grad school. I know I'm extremely privileged to not have student debt, and my parents supported all of my educational expenses from the point I came to the United States for high school. And I really needed that second chance to refocus on my career path so that I can stay in the United States for a little longer. I picked a grad program at the University of Washington, thinking that I was gonna go into marketing. The program focuses on communication and leadership, and I thought that would be a great fit because I didn't have to throw away my creativity and I can be a little more realistic about my career path. I had to be in school full time because of my student visa, and at the same time, I didn't have the luxury of time to figure out my work situation very easily. So I was picking up on-campus jobs, I was picking up internships, all alongside of being a full-time student. The next step of a student visa is typically a work visa, and being in Seattle made me realize that the best possible path that I could be on is to get into tech. And the reason for that is tech companies are more open to sponsor work visas compared to some of the smaller companies. It's a big expense, I completely understand. And this whole work visa situation, it's a lottery process. A lot of people enters into it and not many people ended up getting it. I'm not gonna bore you with this whole visa information. It's a whole nother beast by itself. So I started to have networking conversations with a lot of the alumni from my programs who also happen to do communication work in big tech. And many of them told me, in order to become a marketing professional in big tech, I need to get my foot in the door by having agency experience. So I decided to end my internship program at a local nonprofit and picked up a different internship at a local PR agency in 2019. I started my internship at the summer of 2019, and at that time, because school was not really in session, a lot of my friends would be gathering together, hang out, and build their UX design portfolios together. I had no interest in UX design at that time, but at the same time, I felt this huge sense of FOMO watching them building their portfolio. I think I probably bugged my friends too much, to the point that they recommended me to check out UX writing. And I was like, what is that? I had no idea that it was even like a whole discipline. So I started to explore a little more on UX writing, and the first thing I did was to sign up for the daily UX writing challenge. Basically how it works is you sign up with your email, you get a daily prompt for the next 14-15 days with a UX writing challenge. You would come up with your solution of these challenges and post it in a Facebook community. I had no design background, but my high school Facetune skills came in clutch. I would have a vague idea of what I wanted to do, what the interaction might look like, and I would literally just Google, like, I want that thing that pops up, like whatever that thing is called, and erase the words on whatever image I find and fill in with my own words on Instagram story. Safe to say, it was pretty janky. And I remember feeling pretty nervous about my day one challenge because people either get roasted or have no engagement in that Facebook group. So I posted my day one challenge, I went to bed, and the following morning, I saw 30-something notifications on my phone regarding to my day one challenge. And it was giving me flashbacks of that 33 out of 100 paper that I was getting in high school. I was like, okay, people are roasting me. This must have been really, really bad. And there were comments like, this is good work. I'm jealous that I didn't write like that. And if you know me personally, you know I thrive on validations. But I had no idea how to get into it. And I remember being on the subway to my internship and I was like, hey, like maybe I'm onto something. Maybe this could be a potential career path for me. But how do I get into it? How do I get my foot in the door? I had no idea. I went on to complete all 14 days of that daily UX writing challenge. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to become a content designer. And by the way, I'd love to share and react to some of my old daily UX writing challenges. So if this is something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments. I don't think content design or UX writing internships existed at that time, so I really didn't have a clear path. So instead, I tried to find opportunities at my PR internships. Say if one of the clients is requiring us to build a website for them, I would reach out to my supervisor and be like, hey, can I be on that project helping out with some of the web copies? Of course, I was rejected and I was given intern busy work instead. My frustration with the internship started to grow more and more, which filled into my desire to become a content designer more and more as well. I don't enjoy reading books, but that anger, that fire inside of me pushed me to borrow books to read more about the discipline and get myself more equipped for that potential opportunity to come. And that day came. One day, an alum from my grad program posted this 3-month temporary position into our Facebook community. And I clicked into the job description. It required 8 to 10 years of work experience, and I obviously had 0. A week after that job description was posted, I was thinking to myself, it's already been a week, it's a popular company, the position's probably already filled up, it's probably too late. But at the same time, what do I have to lose? So I messaged the alum, and surprisingly, she was like, I'm super excited that you're applying. The alum sent a great referral to the hiring manager, and 2 days later, I got an invitation for an in-person interview. I still didn't expect anything, but still, I was very excited about this interview for 3 reasons. First, I have never physically been inside of a Microsoft building. Second, I get to meet people who are currently in content design, and you never know, if one day Microsoft decides to open up internship programs for UX writing or content design, they'll think about me. And number 3 is I get to brag to my friends that I interviewed at Microsoft. My portfolio presentation was absolutely trash. I didn't know how to prepare for a portfolio presentation. I brought in a content strategy project from school and my 14-day UX writing challenge, and they were living inside of a Google Doc. I still remember I was eating a red velvet cookie while presenting, and I was just like scrolling down the page and be like, you guys can read this. Let me know if I should scroll to the next page. The hiring managers shared a bit more about the job expectations and the organizational structure, which were both eye-opening to me. I was given a take-home test afterwards, which basically required me to rewrite a few different interactions or screens based on the tone of Microsoft. By the way, I know that take-home assignment is a very controversial topic within the UX community, so let me know what your thoughts on these. The ask was to spend about 2 hours on it. I ended up spending 7 hours on it, but it was a very enjoyable, happy 7 hours. It was like doing that daily UX writing challenge again, but this time with real life examples. I was over the moon. I submitted a work on Monday. I was on my way to my internship Wednesday morning when I got an email from the hiring manager saying, "Do you have 20 minutes? I'd love to offer you the role." I almost screamed on the subway. And ironically, it was also during the time where my manager and my skip manager were both out of office, so it was kind of hard to quit. I was like, who should I even talk to? And it's unbelievable to think that just 2 weeks ago, I was an intern at a local PR agency, and 2 weeks later, I became a content designer at Microsoft. I learned so much on the job. I didn't know Figma at the time, so I had to learn from other people. I didn't know stakeholder management. I didn't know how to collaborate with engineers. I was working on the B2B product, which was really, really complex and hard to understand. I literally had moments where people were telling me that the design or the string literally sucked. And my 3 months there eventually got extended to 21 months, so that's almost 2 years. And that's the wild story of how I became a content designer. I know the series of events felt very random, and I'm extremely lucky to have so many people supporting me along the way. But now looking back, there were a lot of pieces that made me ready when the opportunity came about. All of my past jobs required strong writing skills, and writing in a way that's human, that's authentic, that's concise. My social media jobs really required me to learn how to create and maintain consistencies from a visual, voice, and tone perspective. My nonprofit internships taught me to create content, identify personas, and write in a way that speaks to them. My PR internship allowed me to context switch a lot and understand how to work with different clients based on the different content. And it also required me to distill a lot of complex information into simple and humanly understandable ways. And English being my second language, I've really had this experience where the whole world is not designed for me because everything was explained in a way that is so complex. Until this day, I still consistently check my own work to make sure the 16-year-old version of me who just came to the United States, didn't know much English, can understand and navigate through the experience easily. Who knew being bilingual could one day become a superpower for me as a content designer? It's been a long journey since I came to the United States, and it was not easy by any means. And now I get to create videos about content design. Fun! If you're new to content design, I'd love to know how you came about it, and if you are currently a content designer, I'd love to know your career journey as well. Feels like I was getting interviewed for a documentary or something. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time. Bye! Yay! But now I drink my Bulldog.